it's too high. It's supposed to be like here. I'm gonna blow my own hand off up here. Really need to watch more Ultraman. You gotta need to practice. Listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve, and we're going to talk about Shin Ultraman. Finally got to go see it. Our local AMC, which I mean local, like, about an hour drive, was having the Fathom event showing. I went and seen the English subtitled. Wanted to see the dub, but I had to work the next day. So, missed that one, which I almost kind of... I don't regret not seeing it, but especially with the way the movie begins, it's some of the scenes, because it's just like the dialogue can go really fast sometimes. The dub might have actually helped a little bit, but the English subtitle was still sweet. But anyways, main reason I went to go see the movie, love Ultraman. Haven't seen all the iterations of Ultraman, I will be honest, but I do really like the original series, and then certain ones here and there. And with this being a homage to the original series, felt like I needed to go see it. Plus, who doesn't like good giant monster fighting movies? So if you guys haven't seen it yet, it's not out on video, and it's also still a relatively hard release, so I'm going to keep this fairly spoiler free. So with the plot, essentially it's like the original Ultraman with the introduction of the SSSP, which is created to help combat the kaiju situation that they're having in Japan, which is happening only in Japan, with a lot of the same kind of creatures and events that you see happen in Ultra Q to the beginning of this movie with their first conflict with Naranga. And then also with the introduction of Ultraman being in this first part as well. And then the rest of the movie is pretty much trying to find out who's Ultraman while also dealing with various other kaiju threats and even aliens. Which, if you guys have seen the original Ultraman, it kind of just hits the same beats for the most part. Which, for positives, it's pretty much like the original Ultraman, for better or for worse. Because I will say, if you don't appreciate the campiness of like original Ultraman or even like early Showa films, some of this stuff might kind of turn you off a bit. And even for me, especially in some like dramatic scenes, it kind of got me laughing because even though they're using CG special effects, they keep it in the same vein as if they were still using practical models. So, for instance, when Ultraman's flying around, he's fairly stationary while flying around doing specific moves. So you don't really see him moving around and flailing too much while he's moving. It's still kept like that original model is doing all the shots, which I got behind it pretty well. But I will say some stuff, it still kind of made me laugh. Which, another positive for the movie, it makes you laugh. It's actually got a lot of actual entertaining comedy, which... sometimes, at least for me, when watching anime and just subtitle stuff in general, sometimes the comedy doesn't hit quite as well as it would, say, like with English dubbed. But this movie definitely does a really good job with it, especially with like the action and just a lot of the human characters and just like the interactions between a lot of people. For instance, one of the... actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to save it because... me and my wife were like laugh hysterically during the movie while this scene happened. So let's just say Ultraman has some interactions with some of the monsters that's freaking hilarious. Even in human form. For me, the most noteworthy character, at least human-wise, was Hiroko Asami. I thought she had the most unique character out of everybody. But that's one of the other things that I think they hit really well with this movie is each of the members of the SSSP have their own like unique personalities and quirks, which... again, kind of ties it back to the original Ultraman. And that's kind of what it felt like watching this movie. It just felt like I was just watching a more updated, like better camera quality version of just that original show. Especially with the kaijus and the aliens. They kind of, again, I'm going to kind of say this a lot. They kept it in the same vein as the original show, where the fights are, I wouldn't say brief, but there's not really like a lot of moves going on during it. So if you're looking for super complicated fights, might not be the movie for you, but for me, especially with one fight, I will say I personally enjoyed the fight with him and Gabora the most. I just thought it kind of showed the quality of the animation that was going on with it, and there was just the most dynamic, and to me, it felt like the most intense fight of the movie. My only real negative with this is with, again, being very similar to the original Ultraman series. The movie almost felt more like a bunch of shorts kind of put together than a full-fledged movie. Kind of like each introduction of like the new monster or the new alien felt like its own like self-contained episode, while there's like a little bit of like this overarching background story going on between each section, which for me kind of made the plot seem like it goes. The pacing seemed really quick, even though decently long movie. But it felt like they maybe could have put more into the episodes to kind of flesh out things that were going on, because a lot of it just seemed, especially with the later sections of the movie, a lot of decision stuff were just being made like instantaneous, and then kind of just moving the plot along as fast and briskly as possible, which is kind of nice, because with a lot of people that complain about the Godzilla movies, the legendary is want more of the fights, you want to see a lot more of the aliens and monsters. This movie definitely gives that to you. But the one thing I do appreciate still is, even though the pacing for me seemed a little bit fast, and again, like the structure for it was a little odd, I could still see what they were going for with it. That and the beginning part of the movie, I feel like was definitely stronger than the later sections of the film, especially towards the end. The end, it kind of slows down dramatically for me, it felt. With pretty much one big, two big set pieces, but then it definitely slows down there at the end, which I get. You gotta get your message across on the movie, but I don't know. It just felt like that the beginning of the film had me a lot more invested than it did towards the end. And the one thing too is with the CGI, it actually works really well, even though it's definitely a lesser budget than what you got with the legendaries. Like, of course, it's gonna. It was still sort of similar to Shin. I would say it didn't really have any glaring spots that was like the quality kind of tanks a little bit. Like, say, with the Shin Godzilla transformation sequences was kind of a little rough for me. This movie doesn't really have any of those obvious flaws. And I think a lot of that too is just the kaijus, to me, seemed more like suits, like just CGI suits than CGI characters, which is kind of what you want with your Ultraman. So if you guys haven't seen it, I definitely would recommend going to see it. Well, to be honest, by the time this video is out, it won't even be in theaters again. So if you guys are interested, make sure to go pre-order the Blu-ray. I'll try to put a link in the description if it's on Amazon. But it's great. If you like the original Ultraman series, you're gonna love it. Like, there's not much really I can say bad about it in terms of that. Like, it's literally just probably the best love letter you could have really had for Ultraman. Is it better than some of the newer series? I'm trying to think. Like, I would still like, personally, I like Ultraman Orb more than I like this movie. I also like Shin Godzilla, I would say, still more than I like this movie. But I still loved it. But let me know in the comment section below if you guys have seen Shin Godzilla, what you guys thought of it, or if you guys are super excited to eventually check it out on Blu-ray. Let me know in the comment section below. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting the like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. We also got Instagram, Patreon, Pinterest, Facebook. Guys, like you over the day with channel and donate. Greatly appreciate it. Again, got a Discord attached to our Patreon. And if you guys like to pick yourselves up some Ultraman collectibles, link in the description for Entertainment Earth. Also support the channel and also get yourself some sweet, sweet collectibles. And see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.